Hello, everyone. Welcome to Artistically Married, where art and opportunity collide. We're your hosts, Jake Ackerman.
And Brianne Steinberg.
And yeah, today we have Danno O'Shea from My Son the Hurricane.
Yeah.
Hello.
Welcome. We're so excited. Huge fans.
It's going real well.
Yeah?
Our pre-interview has been hilarious, so
I
I'm
know.
looking forward to this.
I know. That always happens with guests. We're always just like, we missed all this stuff. Let's go back. I want to hear about it again. It's hard to have conversations that you're not just like, let's share. Tell us about My Son the Hurricane. Tell us about how you got into drums. And kind of how you got into the music scene.
Right. So Hurricane is a big kind of 10 to 13 piece brass hip hop band. And it was something that wasn't supposed to do well on paper. It's a horrible idea. And
it's too many members.
It's too many people to pay.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd be splitting $50 forever. And it turns out that now it is a large business and it's toured, I want to say, somewhere from 10 to 15 countries. It's absolutely wild. It's a very all-encompassing thing. And it's a big loving family. Mm-hmm. And it was definitely one of those things that shouldn't work, but has worked.
Unbelievable. So many members. So
many.
Yeah. How do you guys even get like a practice together? You're all there.
Right. And we don't do a lot of rehearsing.
Yeah.
It's I'm a big believer in you know it or you don't know it. You're on the bus or you're off the bus. And it's also like when someone messes up on stage, I don't really need to tell them that.
Yeah.
They know nobody wants to be the weak link. Nobody wants that at all. And so it's that kind of deal. In terms of scheduling, I don't ask anything. I tell, and although that sounds
harsh.
Rude or harsh or communistic, it's it's easier just to do it like that. And I didn't even set out to be the band leader. Like whenever we started, I wasn't a band leader. I didn't even know anything about band leading.
Right.
It just seemed that people would always just look at me. Are we doing this? Are we doing that? And I'm one of those people who's, I think anyone who's a business owner, and you're a business owner, you'd understand this. It's never off your mind. It's never far from your mind. You're always thinking, is there a better way to do something? Is there a smarter way? Or, at times when you should be eating your Wheaties in the morning and you come up with a great idea for your business. That's how Hurricane is for me.
Right.
And I know it sounds off-putting to some people to hear that we look at our band as a business, but it truly is.
It has to be, or else no one's getting paid. No one's gonna eat.
And at the end of the day, they all hold out their hand, and I better have something to put in it.
Right. Yeah. And I think you bring up a really good point of like, and that's the leadership that I've always loved and I emulate and I look at and I'm like, I want to be like that, because there is like something about a natural born leader. They have two things usually: that they're comfortable making decisions. It's easy for them. Like a decision comes on their plate and they're like this or this, and they can do it. And they have that like, protective essence about them. Right. So you are really kind of looking out for everyone, and it just comes natural to like make those quick decisions. Right. So, and I totally think that, either that or it's because you're so tall.
It's part of that. But
let's look up to that guy.
I always say that for better or worse, I made a decision. Whether right or wrong, oftentimes it's the analysis paralysis that's worse than anything.
Totally.
And I have a whole bunch of little things that I run through my head, but one of them is often don't complicate in order to simplify.
Right.
So make a choice.
Yeah, make a decision. I know. I always say that to him because he'll be like, I don't have to work today. I'm like, must be nice. When you're a business owner, you are constantly working. Like you said, you can't stop your thoughts, right? Your thoughts are just always going in there and like trying to, like you said, find something better. Or I think in the music industry right now, you're having to be really like creative.
Certainly.
How to like navigate your business so that it like, packs a punch, that you're still working. Just to keep yourself working is a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How do, like you said, you've been in like 10 to 15 countries, taking this many people on the road, you're putting them up. How did you kind of like manifest that big of a tour scenario with a band this size?
I like to joke that this was my, 10-year overnight success.
Yeah.
You know, everyone really started paying attention about 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And I still remember when we decided that we were going to go to Fredericton, and it sounded like the end of the
So
earth.
far away.
I remember thinking, what are we doing? We're going through 2 provinces. And now I'm like, Lithuania, sure.
Oh my God, amazing.
You know, where I have to look up on my phone exactly
where it is,
where Latvia is. You know, so yeah, it wasn't something that happened quickly. It was over time, and you know, at first you get your first, you know, out of province gigs, and then out of country, and we would go to the United States, and it was going really well, and then into Europe, and then these massive European tours. And then now what's amazing is whenever I'm booking these tours, I can call the same people again, the same van people, the same, you know, backline people. And it's all, you know, and in their various awesome accents, they say hello.
Yeah.
And it's how nice it is to hear from me. And it's wonderful. And I love that the band is constantly asking me where are we headed to next.
Wow.
You know,
they're in it to win it.
They're in it to win it. And one of the guys said something that really stuck with me. On the last tour, I could only book so many flights at a time, and I had to send some people a little bit out of the way. And he said, Danno, the fact that I will fly to Portugal and on a connector and just believe that there is a gig somewhere and someone is going to pick me up shows me how much I trust
you. Yeah.
And I said, well, I really
appreciate
take
that.
as a big compliment.
I think it's interesting because, yeah, you did say, you know, that it is a business and like you run your band like a business. And yeah, it's been like kind of a reoccurring theme that we've heard because we really do try with our guests and with our own life to try to blend the two. Like we love making art and business one because when you're succeeding at your business, then, you know, you're able to do the art. It's a luxury to be able to do art as a job, right?
Certainly.
So I think you brought up a really awesome point, and we love this too, is the networking part and the relationships that you're building with people that you can call them back and say, hey, we were there last year. What do you think? You know, we're doing another tour. Can we come back? I think that's awesome. It's awesome that you have that like networking capacity and you're running it like a business.
Certainly. And it's nice now that, you know, when everyone says, oh, the amazing amount of work that you do. And I say sometimes, yes, it is. But it's also, as time goes on, it becomes less work. Those hard conversations are now a text.
Yeah.
But it's only because of the work that you did a while back.
Yeah, it gets to be like a rinse recycle, right? We always say that with putting on shows. Like it's so, at the beginning, it's so daunting. You lose so many hours of sleep. And now you're just like, I know all the things. I got all the, like, you know, the systems. Like where we're going, right? It's all about the systems.
Many systems.
So many systems. I remember I saw some post of yours. I think it might have been like 2 or 3 years ago. And you were like saying something about like, oh, I'm going to go to a coffee shop every Friday. I'm going to like look at my finances or something along the lines. And I remember like just reading that and thinking like, oh my God, like I needed to read that on this day to get in my head. Like I have to do that. You have to like make it systematic that you're like looking at those finances.
It's horrible, isn't it?
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
But it's part of the deal.
It's essential. Yeah. And that's when you start focusing in on those of like get rid of expenses and focus in on like what's making us money and how we can make more of it. I think that's when you really see a business grow, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's anybody will tell you when you started those implementing those type of systems that your business really like does expand exponentially.
Yep, certainly.
Yeah. But that was inspiring for me. I was like, oh, I needed to hear this. That day I needed to read that and be like, I'm doing that Finance Friday. And I do it now. It's amazing. And it's true. You kind of just take the time and you like treat yourself. I think you were just like, and then I get myself a nice coffee. And I was like, I love this.
Yeah. I always say I like a nice treat.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to reward yourself.
Absolutely.
Because it's so hard. Awesome. Yeah. I think it's amazing. You don't see a lot of times the, you know, front man being the back man. Mm-hmm. How is it like, you know, leading the band from the drums?
I think you might be surprised how many band leaders are drummers. And I think part of that is because we naturally count in the song. And one of the things I like is I have kind of the bird's eye view of the band.
Right.
So I have the ability to watch the entire band more so than anyone else does.
Right.
So the glory and the detriment of that is that I can see a lot of things, and the detriment is I'm not always 100% in that moment. So I've said that a lot to the band. I think I have a very different experience performing than you do. And although I love the art of it, obviously I'm having a great time, and some songs you just shut up and forget it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I am just in dad mode. It's kind of like being at a barbecue and your kids are there running around with other kids.
You can't really enjoy yourself.
You may be manning the barbecue and you may be talking with someone, but out of the corner of your eye, it's like inherently when your kid is acting up, and you just shoot them that look, that my mom used to shoot me, like, straighten up. I think I have that where I'm just, all eyes are out. And I always tell that to the band. I said, this is heads up baseball today. We're trying something new. And like I said, because there's not a ton of rehearsal, it's important to us to eventually tell them it's happening this week. Get this one down.
Yeah. And
it is scary when it goes off the rails for us.
Yeah.
That is if you ever see people start to look back at me, something is happening,
There's just so many members.
But you know what? I have such trust, number one, in my rhythm section. And that's such an important part, because if they have it together, the horns will have it together. And a lot of times at the beginning, I'm conducting in a much more traditional sense. And then after a while, everyone just has it.
Yeah.
But we write everything out in sheet music form, which again, to most people, it sounds so bizarre. But that is the only way that we know that everyone's playing the right thing. We can get our ideas across. And it's a great way to bring in music because, again, the good and the bad of that is sometimes I'll write a song and I feel real strong about it. And this is all musicians. You write a song, you feel real good about it. But then whenever the band plays it, it's a piece of shit. and
and then what do you do?
It's
You're
much
like, I loved it.
It's kind of like playing for children. Like, children don't know how to lie to you.
Right.
They're just so insanely honest.
So honest.
So but the playback is like that. It's the same reason we record the shows. You listen back, something you thought was good, and you say, oh, that is not good.
Yeah.
That tempo is all wrong, or there's a reason why the crowd, we're so beholden to our dance floor.
Right.
That's so important to us, the people, having this experience. So when anything that gets in the way of that, I am really angry about. So, and not angry at any member, just I want it fixed.
I want it good.
And
I want it to be good.
And I go home and, I don't fall right asleep, I think. So it's a little bit more of that. But I think being in the drum seat is such a powerful position because, number one, it's just very physical, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
But also because you are, by and large, the conductor.
I was going to say, it's such a commanding position because controlling, the rhythm is like, it's everything.
Mm-hmm. And I'm also, whenever Jacob left, one of the things that I hadn't realized, because I had been feeling like we can exist without Jacob.
Yeah.
But when Jacob left, one of the hardest things, I remember calling him and saying, how do you know what to say in between? And he's like, I haven't thought about a word. He just has this natural gift.
Yeah. That's when the comedian comes out. That's right. Yeah.
And so
it's why
a lot of my stuff is pre-scripted to a point, because I can't be thinking about the next song and what I'm going to say and the tempo and everything.
So much pressure.
So to do that, what I learned is that you need to have, because I always liked the comedy part of it too, but I realized I have to have little bite-sized snippets.
Yeah.
Because I am not the comedian Jacob is.
Right.
I don't have that improv ability.
Right.
And also what I didn't realize is that while you're speaking, you can also hear the crowd. There's this interactive thing, and now it's become fun. Whereas the first year I just wanted every song to go into the next song. I don't want to hear my voice. Nobody wants to hear that.
No one's like tried to step up and do some like talking in between.
No, they think it's great. They said, they're like, you're doing great.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, one of the reasons we need it is they need a minute. They got to rest their lips. They got to rest their voices. They need to drink something.
Yeah. It's so high energy. Your music
I'm not
is just
dancing.
like...
I'm the only person sitting.
Yeah.
So I have to remember that they are giving their life up there. Give them 30 seconds.
Yeah. Man. How would you describe My Son the Hurricane's music?
this has been a tricky part of my life, as
Yeah.
you can imagine.
Yeah, people just want that label.
Certainly. And it's at first it was supposed to be this New Orleans style thing, and
Right.
that's what inspired me. I heard this music, and Nelson and I had been writing, and then it became clear that it was disingenuous. Like, I just, we weren't from there, we couldn't write that way.
You're white.
I am so
You're
white. So white. I'm from Northern Ontario.
Yeah.
So,
Whoa, how north?
Sault Ste. Marie.
Oh,
Yeah.
We have a house in Timmins.
Oh, yeah?
Well, it's
No,
my brother's now, but we have a big community in Timmins.
that white.
You're white.
Yeah. So because of that, I think what ended up happening was we started fusing things that we liked, which were some hip hop things, some metal things, some funk things, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And,
the funk, that's what I would describe it as, like, big brass, like funk.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what we do now. And we're not trying to, we let everyone say, if people want to think it's a ska band, I certainly,
ska band?
I would understand why they would see that. We have one,
see
I
that.
have,
Oh, yeah?
we have one,
Okay.
we have one reluctant ska song, where I wrote it in the studio. They're like, why are you so scared of writing this ska song? I said, well, I just didn't, I didn't want to have that label.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I saw Streetlight Manifesto that I'm like, okay,
It's fine.
I think I really actually am okay with this ska moniker now.
I don't think I would call it ska.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
There's definitely
There's so many parts. That's the thing. Like, when I'm listening back to it, I'm like, oh my God, there's just so much goes into even just one song.
Well, you can tell whenever we've been heavily fixated on some sort of genre.
Yeah.
Because it starts to come out. And and again, sometimes we've been listening, when Tool's last album came out, we ate it on the road.
Yeah.
And we started writing stuff like that. I'm like, what is going on? We can't, this is not us.
Are we writing too old now?
I was like, we're becoming bad clones now.
Oh my
you
God.
kind of need to stick to 4/4 if you're doing dance cans, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think you had brought up kind of your like symbiotic relationship with your audience, and as a dancer and as like people that anyone that I've ever shown your band to, that's the first thing they cling to is like, it's so danceable. And like, it's so danceable because it's not just, there's certain music that's like a good tempo music that makes you dance, but your music like commands like a movement. Like it feels like it's so choreographed because that it's like a slow part, it's a breakdown, and then it's like an up part, or it's like the timing changes that are in it are just magical. They're amazing.
It's neat to watch the crowd. It's one of the odd things that started happening with the choreography is that the crowd will start to pick up on it.
Yeah.
And they start to mimic it sometimes, which I think is really neat.
Yeah.
Especially because and the choreography is a lot like the song where when Justin or Victoria, who do most of our choreography.
I was just going to ask, who does it?
Yeah, when those two would bring something in and we would try it, it just becomes real clear if that idea they had in their kitchen is going to work or isn't going to work.
Yeah.
So, and we have de facto moves to go to if things start going off the rails.
Yeah. You have like a set of like 10 moves. How do you do it when there's a giant horn in your lap? Like, it's bananas.
And the breath control.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is,
the amount of cardio.
So you start something and we realize, okay, it's not going to work with the breath control. That's why we started bringing in the stairs. So we have those stairs that are in front of my drum set, the big podiums.
Yeah.
So now they can go up, they can go down. It creates this multi-level show.
Yeah.
And what I love is it actually blocks me for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I feel the onus is off me. It's also strange to become like eye to eye with someone because I'm usually up on a riser.
Right.
So creating these different levels and things like that is just another thing that, I thought of one day. I thought, I wonder if my buddy who's a carpenter could wake me up. I gave him an idea and a little shitty sketch on a Subway napkin.
Yeah.
And, hey, you think you could do this? And he's like, yeah, totally. He's like, you sure? You guys want to? I'm like, I think I like that idea.
Yeah.
And, and even this year, like we have a big drum that comes out front and we all, a bunch of us play it.
Love that.
And we, it's just, my idea really is I don't want a song to go by without some sort of moment, you know? And I want it so that even we have like 2 slow songs, but now one is like a flute feature and one has another feature. And I want something to happen each time. I never want it to get bored. Where this all comes from, the genesis of this is when I used to tour with other bands. I remember being in Dayton, Ohio, and I was with a band that was pretty decent, and the band before us murdered us. They came on, and every song had, I didn't even want to go on stage after. And I remember telling myself, I will never
feel that way again.
Feel that way again. And we have gone to like, when we were in France last year, every band that played, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But never once was I, oh, let's pack it up. No. It's like, now we were just antsy for our turn to play for these 4,000, French fans. And so, yeah,
it's so fun. And I think you're right. Every song is a moment. And I get like almost like a Broadway feel when I'm watching your set. Like it's funk music, but like the dancing and the singing and the movement of like, the players, it's just, it adds, like you said, it's that other level of entertainment where, you can go to a show. It's wild. We spend all this money going to a concert and we're like, just music? Like, I'm bored.
I want to make sure, especially now, it's not getting any cheaper to see us or anyone else for that matter.
No.
I just want to make sure that, when people leave, they feel like that was money well spent.
I got my money worth. I was entertained.
I was wildly entertained.
And we're dealing with like a population of people now that are just like so overstimmed by all the things, right? That like we have to entertain the crap out of them. Like they need the lights and the sounds and the moving and like, they need all the things to keep them entertained. So
we like to be all the things.
Yeah, you are. You're all the things. Unbelievable. Yeah, so much fun. So I had kind of like asked about the choreography. When did that start? Because I was trying to remember. I felt like I saw you guys when we were, it was like downtown St. Catharines or something, like really early on in the band's career, and I don't think you were.
No, if I can swear on here.
It
was a clamoring fucking disaster at first.
Like how did you have this vision for like, I want you guys to dance?
So the first thing that we did was we used to do a march in. We used to march in, and that was our first choreographed thing.
Yeah.
And then we would get on stage, and then we would stand around like statues, like shoegazing, try to figure out what would happen. And what ended up happening was, inch by inch, it just seemed like I started hiring people who were more interested in a stage show.
Love that.
And I think with each person, what ended up happening was I would start to pitch it with someone saying, but we dance as well.
Yeah.
And so if they didn't like that, they wouldn't join. And so all of a sudden I had these people who were interested in dancing, and I tell them all the same thing. We are not professional dancers. That's what's so awesome about it. Like a kid like Leroy, who's 23 years old, just out of music school, has never even danced.
Yeah.
He's probably never even like danced on a dance floor at a wedding.
Right.
Now we're like, you have to do this, and you're going to play your instrument.
Right.
I know you've been sitting in comfortable orchestras in temperature controlled rooms where your tuning is perfect.
Right.
And that was another thing we had to choose, is that tuning is an interesting thing with instruments. It's not like when you play piano and you hit a C, C is produced.
Right.
It's not the same with the horn. You play a C, it's involved in your mouth and where you move. And so we came up with the decision that we were not going to be perfectly in tune, that we were going to make this the show.
Yeah.
And you'll get, for sure there are purists who will probably think we're dog shit because of that, and that's okay. And I would also understand that. So it's an interesting thing.
Come on, to go watch like an orchestra sit there, you're like, okay.
Well, yeah, you get the good and the bad. You get these perfectly tuned, these beautiful pieces.
Right.
But it's a different kind of show.
Yeah.
I've learned to really appreciate every kind of show.
Yeah.
I remember once us opening for Donovan Woods. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. So he's kind of like this, he looks like a truck driver, and then he gets on stage and he just, like, I was thinking, I feel bad for him coming up after us. Like, that's going to be hard. He owned the crowd over us.
Yeah.
And and the way he spoke and the way he talked to the crowd and the way he sang, it just really blew me away and blew us away.
Yeah.
Love it.
I think it's also, I've talked to a number of musicians over the years, and I try to be as gentle as I can, but sometimes you're like, you're an amazing musician, but you're uncomfortable to watch because they don't know, even if you're just playing a guitar, like there's certain ways about like moving that just make you comfortable and drawn into a player. So I think kind of giving them those tools of like, maybe they otherwise would have felt like weird or awkward in that moment where like it's dead silence or they're, it's not their turn to play or something. I think you kind of fill in that gap by like giving them movement, which I think is great.
Yeah, and everyone, you're part of a gang.
Yeah.
You're part of a traveling band of misfit toys.
Oh my
So,
God. I can't even imagine. What if they like start acting up? You know, you gotta.
There are the only time I yell is when it's late at night at the hotel.
They're 20 years old. Like, go back to when you were 20. Like,
I know, and
they're touring.
I like to joke about how we do the hotel rooms is that we have them all spaced out, so it's like from the old guy's room, my room, where it's like Law and Order is done.
Yeah.
I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
All the way to the next guys who are probably gonna stay up for a drink, to the ones all the way to the end of the hall, which is the young guys who, Lord knows if they're even in the room that day.
Yeah, they might go out. Like,
I see them showing up in a cab at the while I'm having my continental breakfast.
Oh my
Because,
gosh.
and you know what? I say it's really important that they have that kind of tour.
100%.
In the same way, it's important that I have a tour, in fact, where I sleep.
Yeah.
And things like that. Because if you force me to have their kind of tour, it will be bad, and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, you're giving them that opportunity. I was going to say, where do you pick the members from?
It's all over. It's
Okay.
usually when someone's leaving, they usually have someone else for me. And if not, I've auditioned. I've just word of mouth it.
Yeah.
It was a little bit different trying to find a new singer, obviously, because it's such a colossal task
Yeah.
that you have asked. Yeah. So I had about 50 audition videos to watch.
Wow.
Ranging from killer to wow. Wow.
Wow, bad.
You sent me that.
You're very confident. You're confident in yourself.
Wow. So but I'm very gracious with anyone who would spend their time,
put themselves out there like that.
Learn our stuff.
Yeah.
And because part of the audition process was learning some of the choreography.
I was gonna ask, did they end your music? Like,
I gave them
like,
2 songs.
Okay.
I gave everyone 2 songs, it's like one that's heavily rapping,
Yeah.
one that's heavy singing with the dance moves.
Right.
And number one, it was also interesting to see people's take on it.
Yeah.
And then you had people who were like pro dancers who killed it.
You're you're Britney Spears.
But their singing just couldn't hold it.
Yeah, and your vocals are like powerful. Like it can't be like bubblegum. Like
no,
yeah.
Because you can disappear.
Sylvie left big shoes to fill.
Yeah,
like,
certainly.
She's just like a, Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And getting that phone call is not the phone call anyone wants to get. So whenever you do that, it's, it gives you a few days of pause of trying to figure out, is this the kind of person that can be replaced? Is this the kind of thing that can still happen? And I will say that I was shocked that no one in the band was like, we weren't shocked that it came.
Yeah.
But I was shocked that everyone was like, of course we're carrying on.
Yeah.
Which,
who's next? Who's up?
Well, and one of the guys was angry with me. The fact that I had even considered otherwise.
Yeah.
He's like, do we get a say in this? And I was like, well, of course you can have a say in it. I was like, but I just assumed, and so we're really fortunate that this change has gone over so well.
Yeah. I was listening to it. Just listening to your most recent album. It came out in April.
Yes.
And it's fantastic.
My favorite album.
Oh my God. We're like, it's just so clean. Like the production is unbelievable.
Oh, they did a great version. And to have, our friends in USS and Protest the Hero and all these different people play on it was so wonderful. And it was just such a wonderful, the whole experience of making that record was joyous.
Yeah.
And fun. And everyone was just so good. And
you're so tight now, right? Like you said, like you've been through 10 years together and like, oh.
Yeah. And what was really neat about this record was it was the first time that Cooper had written a song. So all of a sudden we had 2 songs written by Cooper.
I was going to say, are you still writing everything?
No, not
okay.
at all. In
Awesome.
fact, Craig, who plays trombone, he writes the majority of the horn parts. Cooper,
Amazing.
who's the percussionist, came to us with these 2 banging songs. We're like, where the hell have you been hiding with this shit? And other members came in with stuff. So we're really, really fortunate that we could do this. And I always joke that I'm really great at songwriting up until the chorus or up until the verse. Like I can write one good part of a song and then I'm stuck.
Really?
And Chris, our guitarist, is my crutch. I like to, I'm stuck here, with the exception of Does Your Mama Know, which myself and a friend of mine wrote in like no time.
Really? Isn't it amazing when those songs happen?
That one was so funny because we wrote it on, that was written with myself and the woman who I wrote that with. She had a hit song the week that I was born. So she's probably in her 70s.
Wow.
Johanna. And we had just met and we started this friendship, and she had written all these hit songs, and she had toured the world with like ABBA and all these bands.
Wow.
And we just became friends. She's like this Dutch singer. And then I just showed her this song I was writing, and we collabed it out, and Does Your Mama Know? And we wrote it years ago. And so whenever I called her and I said, would you mind if we put this on our record? And she's like, oh my,
I'd be honored.
Yeah, of course.
Amazing.
And when she heard it, she's like, wow, this really came out well.
I think like the first time that you were practicing with your new singer, you were here rehearsing, and that was the first song that I had heard with her, and I was oh my God.
Oh yeah.
She's so good.
Yeah, we're really fortunate. And
yeah.
And it's a weird one because technically I sing lead in the chorus, which is
we were wondering that.
Yeah. I was like, I think that's Danno singing.
It's me and Chris and Sarah, and that's what's so strange about it was that when I explained it to them, I said, okay, so it's supposed to be this 3-part, and they said, well, yeah, but who's singing the main? I was like, well, one of you guys sings the main. They're like, yeah, but can you hit these harmonies? I'm like, not even close. And they said, well, can you sing the lead? And so I said, well, for now I'll sing it. And then it just became, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And
it's great.
I think my biggest musical, my 2 favorite bands are Primus and Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh.
And they both have horrifically bad singers. So
like almost on purpose.
Almost on purpose. Yeah. So I realized, oh no, this is fine.
This is good. I like this.
You're on key. That'll do.
No, I thought it sounded great. I was just surprised.
Yeah. So, no one is quite as surprised as me every time it comes up to that part of the song.
You're like, oh God, I gotta sing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that part. Where's my mic?
Yeah, I feel like you would just not put that pressure on yourself. You're doing all the things, Now I'm gonna sing too.
That's what I do.
Oh my God. Just glutton for punishment. Can you talk to us about the most unforgettable show?
I mean, it's hard because you have 10 years of Genius shows.
Yeah.
Like there's a few stick out. One of the first times we went to the United States, we played a festival called Bliss Fest.
Okay.
And we closed it. We headlined it, and it went insanely good.
Yeah.
And it was a real hold my beer moment. It felt like we really, everyone had arms crossed when we went on stage, and then by the end were giving us hugs.
Aww.
I think the one that sticks out to me was when we went to Sweden for the first time. We our first show was to about 50 people. We did 3 shows in 4 days, and our first show was to about 50 people, and we were thrilled, and we felt really, really good about it.
Because you're overseas, you're starting from scratch.
It felt great, and then the next show, the next night, had about 200 people, and we were really feeling good about that. And then the last show, they had to call the fire department because there was a lineup down the street. And Jacob even said it best. We went to it went so crazy. They were so nuts. They were yelling for songs, they're yelling for Birthday Cake and yelling for Parade and things, which was so wild. And afterwards we went to this after party at a giant club, and they shouted us out on the mic and everyone cheered. And Jacob said, I feel like I'm in like a teen movie now. This doesn't feel real. So I think anytime you go abroad and you get a good response, it feels especially good because nobody, not to, say anything bad about playing at home. It's wonderful, but there's people there who have they're our friends, and they have reason to love us.
Yeah.
And so the first time you go to Fredericton and you make a fan, it feels really good because they don't have a reason to love you. Or
100%.
When we were in Rome and we saw someone with a Hurricane shirt on. And
awesome.
It's things like that are really, really neat.
Yeah.
And they feel good, and we're just I try, and I'm working more. This is my my ongoing New Year's resolution every single year is to appreciate what is happening.
It's hard. It's hard when you're like,
Yeah.
I'm the director. I'm like steering the ship.
Yeah.
You can't stop going forward. You can't stop looking forward, but you have to be grateful.
But you can, in the periphery, enjoy the scenery.
Totally.
And, while...
I think every business person is working on that.
Yeah, and with varying degrees of success.
Yeah. Being able to just congratulate yourself, like celebrate your wins. Like those are hard things to do when you're like, but I don't want to let myself get comfortable. I want to keep progressing. So like, I can't just be like content with what we have. I have to keep going, you know?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think that's always the tricky game you play. We were talking about before the episode, we were talking about, just the physical demand, and, we're not spring chickens anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, how do you keep that kind of energy? I get it, like get rest on the road and eat healthy, but how do you maintain that much energy in a show experience, and then kind of when you stack them all together in a tour?
Right, and it's hard, and it's not even as hard for me as it is for some of the. Even though I have a physical demanding job, the horn players have it, and the singers have it much worse.
Right.
And there is a big age difference in our band. There's a 23-year age gap.
Okay.
From youngest to oldest.
Yeah.
And so we're all feeling it in different ways. And what's funny to me is as the tours go on, certain guys who were spring chickens are now starting to feel, are starting to ask me for the Tums, So
Yeah.
I think everyone tries to take decent care of themselves. I swim a lot. I think everyone's trying to take decent care of themselves.
Yeah.
Physically. Some people do it better than others. Some people in the band have had to quit smoking darts because they're just too much for them. They're hacking up one on stage. So it's a lot. Whereas,
do you ask that in the interview process?
No, but I don't.
You should start.
I don't think it's gonna be any easier for you if you smoke.
No.
But everyone has a pre-show ritual. They have their way that they get ready, and I don't get on their case. I do sometimes remind them when they're getting super liquored the night before that you do have a show at 2 p.m. tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's going to be sunny and 33 degrees. And that can't feel good if you're hungover.
You are going to be hot.
You're going to be hot. And the other thing is jet lag.
Yeah.
I remember when we were in Lithuania, our guitar player didn't even know where he was. We needed to literally get him a bed. We were just sound checking, and he said, I don't think, he said, what is going on? I was like, okay, it's bedtime.
You're confused.
Yeah, which happens because all of those aforementioned things. So we're usually pretty good for looking out for each other and understanding. And sometimes someone has to take a night off, and that's okay too. You know, there's enough horn players where it's like, I say sometimes, I'm like, listen, if you are struggling, take one off. There's a few of us who just don't have the luxury.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be handy.
Yeah.
Super handy. Yeah. I think this year coming up are going to be the first time I'm going to like Cooper do some drumming for me. Just because I have 2 little ones at home and they're the best, and missing, I have no interest in missing birthdays and things like that. It's just
those like core memories, right? Those milestones.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy? I felt like I went through this, like maybe you can relate, because I know your kids are like around the same age, right? They're 9 and
11 and 6.
Oh, 11 and 6. Okay, so around the same age as ours. And it felt like I went through this time period when they were babies where you feel like they're like super demanding, like they need you all the time because like they're potatoes, like they can't do anything. And then I kind of got to this moment where I was like, okay, like I feel like at like 3 and 5 where you feel like your kids still don't have really, like, they don't know what's going on, but they're more independent. So then all of a sudden you get this like glimpse of like, hey, you know what, they're doing what they need to do. And now I feel like they're your little friends, right? Like they start to notice that like if you're not there, they remember, they know, like they have their, their understanding of it. So I think it's a hard time to like be away from them now.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they're the coolest.
I know. And we only get like a couple more years and then they're gonna hate us.
Yeah. And before they come back to us in their 20s.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think I definitely consider that.
Yeah.
And
do they think you're a movie star or like a rock star?
You know what they think is what's funny is they are over how many people I know. Okay. Because we'll go to the grocery store and someone will say, hey, and they want to talk about it, and they think it's neat to an extent. But there was one day in the mall where they were done.
Yeah.
I had to eventually buy them one of those things to ride around on because they were pissed. Because everywhere we would go, it was just like, I felt like the mayor that day.
Yeah.
So it just depends. But they do think it's neat.
Yeah. Are they musicians?
One of them, my daughter plays piano, and she's fabulous.
Amazing.
And what's great is that she got a great ear. And the boy, we don't know. But I'm not gonna. He's a little boy. You know how they are. They don't fear anything, which you wish they would.
Yeah, and they're just wild too, right? Like they're very like, yeah. We try to get Phoenix to play, and he's just like, you know?
He's got a good ear too.
Yeah, and they don't. That's just not what they're into yet.
Yeah, and just keeping them around it, I think, is like the best case scenario, right? So you had mentioned, and I actually thought, we were talking about off air again, our friend, John Boyer, very dear friend of both of ours.
Yeah.
And I thought, I mean, we had talked about this in the past, but yeah, I had thought you had went to school for a teacher's college.
No. And in fact, I didn't. There was just a time in which people needed music teachers so bad.
Yeah.
That they were willing to take someone with a music degree.
Right.
And even now I just lied because my degree is a diploma from Humber College. Not a degree. In fact, I always say degree.
Whatever. Degree, diploma, same thing.
But regardless, it is. There was a time in which I was teaching night school at Eden, and I was teaching at a grade school, and then I was also teaching private lessons.
Okay.
And randomly ran into one of my former students at the dog park the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Who's now like 30.
Oh,
and so I was like,
God.
oh, yeah.
That happens to me.
There I am, being
Man,
nice
I'm
and
old. Yeah, nice and old.
Yeah, it's happening. Okay, great. So that was an interesting time. But again, it just became clear that tour was going to be the biggest part of life. And I just had to give that stuff up.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but it's a crazy leap, again, just like anyone else's own business, when you realize, no, I'm going to be solely responsible for it, is such a teeth-grinding moment where you really, it hits the pavement, and you really learn what you're made of. But it also showed me that I am really good at getting us work.
Yeah.
And not only...
Because that's the most important thing, right? As long as there's income coming in, we're okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Got to get us work.
Yeah. And it's just... and for us, there's a lot of overhead to travel. There's a lot of overhead.
Well, I'm just trying to wrap my head around, like, you booking all those hotels and booking all these people to go all these places and feeding them and moving them. How do you get them from the hotel to the venue? Like,
right.
Oh.
And you know what? And you consider them all. For me, it's like it always starts with the flights. From flights, I go to a comms. From a comms, I go to travel. From travel, I go to instruments. From instruments, I go to per diems. So everyone gets a really huge tour itin. Even if we're only doing like a weekend set of shows. Yeah. Sundays are paydays, Mondays are tour itins, and so they know that they're going to get their advance that says that it's got everything. So that way, all those questions, and I know there are people who read it religiously and memorize it, and then there are people who
don't even look at it.
Where are we going again?
Oh my God.
And I
gave you a book.
Yeah, exactly. And I just have to realize that everyone does it a little differently.
Yeah.
And and if you had 12 Dannos, it would be hell on earth. So it's the fact that they just put their faith in me, and they just I just like everything down to the pay, it's to say, hey, sorry, there's a cut in this one for this reason, and sometimes we get offers like to open for someone we love, but anyone who's in this business knows that opening spots pay dog shit. Okay. So, but in those cases, we try to save for a couple a year, but sometimes, it's not there, and I'll just say, hey,
anybody into this?
If you're into it, we'll do it. If not, because again, I don't ask much. And and if they say yes, awesome, we'll do it. If not, then no. And then some people are like, how do you afford to do? Oh, well, this is one of those ones in which we don't.
Right.
But we also do school shows on the road, which help finance us playing. So we play for, grade and high schools. We do this 45-minute program, which basically shows off our instruments. We play 8 songs. We do a bunch of crowd participation and we're just positive male and female role models.
Yeah.
And it's just so exciting, and it's extra loot.
Right.
So now it's a really
And it's daytime, which is
it's
like your off hours,
it's
you know?
easy. So again, this is a thing, you know.
Yeah.
And not every band can do this because we have these instruments in which are considered band instruments.
Right.
And if you can in some way make a trombone cool, by God,
Do it.
you have the rights to do it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It's such a good it's such a good cooperative like correlation, right? And again, it goes out to that networking. Like you got to get into these school systems to let them, let you to go to them and do that.
Yeah, and now we've done over 50, and we've done them in different countries, and we've done them in different languages, and so it's pretty neat, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, Belgium, we're, do you understand us?
Yeah.
What instrument is this? And then they yell out trombone in Belgian. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So we're learning as much as they are. It's super exciting.
That's so fun. Oh, I love that. Do you miss anything about teaching?
One of the strange things, I was just thinking about this when we played St. Catharines. Mm-hmm. Some of my old students showed up, and now they're like in their 20s and drinking beer, which is super weird.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about one of the strange things that happens when you private teach is that you have a half hour in a room with this kid, and you do that for a couple of years, and you invariably become friends.
Yeah.
In a weird way, it's hard. And I think back to my private teachers, and they meant so fucking much to me.
Yeah.
And I try to remind myself that too. These kids, I still look at those guys like, oh man, like Ed is still the coolest to me. Ed's probably in his mid 60s right now. Who knows where he is? So stuff like that. Like those guys meant so much to me.
Yeah.
And so whenever I would tell a kid, I would have students who would say, what should I be listening to? I loved those students. Like, okay, man.
They're thinking inquisitively. They're like, give me mentorship.
I used to make them, when I started
tapes?
teaching, I used to make the mixtapes. Then I used to start making the mix CDs and then to Spotify playlists, and it was great. And it was also a great way of learning new music.
Yeah.
Because they would bring me in something. And, like any old bastard, I was like, this is
trash.
I remember when someone bringing me My Chemical Romance and realizing that I just didn't understand. It was one of those first times where I just didn't understand music. I was like, you like this, huh?
Yeah.
What an amazing thing. And their parents, and we would become friends with their parents because you would just get used to them. And some kids come and go and you don't have that connection, and there's nothing wrong with that, or maybe it didn't mean a ton to them, but the ones who it did, that is the best.
I
still feel like there are kids who I haven't seen in 10 years who, if I saw right now, like we would have a huge hug.
Yeah.
And they're probably again in their 20s, which is crazy, but that's the part I miss. But I knew I had to stop because my mind was not totally in it.
Yeah.
And that is not fair, especially when these kids think the world of you. Mm-hmm. That wasn't fair. And I remember my last student, I had her since she was in grade 3, and she was literally leaving for college. Oh
my God.
And of course I broke down like a big
bawling your eyes out.
God, it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
I ran into her mom in the mall the other day who just reminded me of that. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I know.
Yes, I bawled my eyes out.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
I think it's great. I've been in the same role, but it's nice too to be like hovering over and being like, doing programming, and now you're a mentor probably to your bandmates, which is like a similar relationship.
Strange, because I never consider that, but I think there might be more of that. I don't really allow myself to think of that, but I know
because you want to think of them as like equal, like you're not like
I do want to think of myself as equal, but I know that there is at least a little bit of looking up to me, and that I don't take that for granted.
Yeah, they're coming to you
before I get all sucky again
for all the details, right?
Yeah.
I know. No, but that's what life's about. Like life is about being in those like mentor situations, right? I mean, even with our own children, that's why we have them, I think. I don't know.
I think the real simplistic fact of this, and as someone who's a mortician in my other life, life is about people.
Yeah.
Just the real short of it is life is about people.
How did you end up being a funeral director
I-
in all of this?
I always wanted to be. I always wanted to be. Before I ever fell in love with
Really?
drums, I was a kid. I was
You were obsessed with dead people?
Not even dead people. I remember going to a funeral and being obsessed with the funeral home.
Okay.
Like, what is this place?
Weird.
And who the hell are these people?
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the deceased at the time, and like just looking just inquisitively. I remember saying to my dad, he looks different. And my dad said, well, he's embalmed. And I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
And I remember my dad trying to give me, like a layman's version of what is embalming. He
Yeah.
probably said taxidermy or something like that.
God.
But, I just became super interested in it. And
It's wild.
that was always the thing. I remember doing a project on it in grade 6.
Wow.
They were like, what do you want to be? Everyone wanted to be an NBA player or
Yeah,
something
or
like
astronaut,
that.
yeah.
And I was like, I want to be an undertaker. And, people are like, well, yeah, okay, that kid is weird.
Oh my God.
And and it wasn't until I got into high school that I wanted to play drums.
Okay.
And I was actually co-oping at both the music school and the funeral home.
Come on.
So my life has not changed that
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
I
no,
guess
you're
in 30
still-
years, I'm still rocking both.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's amazing. So what's your, give us like the annual schedule.
So I'm a music agent about 4 days a week, which is like booking people, which is hell on earth.
Oh my God.
Which I love, but to most people would consider it hell on earth. Like
Yeah.
it's such intense, fast work. It's just everything is moving so super, super, super fast.
Are you working for the...
I work for a group called Midnight Agency out of Toronto.
Okay.
And so we book.
This is a new thing, right?
This is a new thing,
Okay, yeah. I just saw you post about this.
So we
You're
book.
finding the band and you're setting them up with the...
Yeah, and
with
I'm
the
also
venue.
yeah. So we got a lot of Canadian and American bands who do very well, and that's what we do. We book for them, and then in my other days, I do coroner work and embalming work, which is recovering deceased people from terrible situations, and also work at the funeral home. So I've got that, and so and then hurricane for months. So that's what's so
Yeah.
crazy is you'll be doing these things, and then all of a sudden it's like, sorry, I need to leave for Never Land.
Yeah.
For a while.
You work for, you just work for businesses and you're like, I got to go for 8 months.
The beautiful part of this is whenever I got the job at the funeral home in COVID, she said, at first she said, I can't hire you. You have dreadlocks. And I was like, oh, don't worry. I just cut those. I was on the phone. And,
Oh my God.
and she's like, I know who you are. And so she's like, but you're a pretty busy guy, aren't you? I said, well, right now I am the opposite of busy. I said, in fact, I will work every weekend. I work
Right.
every day.
You probably just wanted to stay busy and
I
not
had said
think about it.
that was
Forget
it.
about it,
And the other thing was I need to stay busy, and I have never had that opportunity to give someone all my time.
Mm-hmm.
It was, love my family dearly.
Gotta get out of the house.
We were like, they were, one was teaching in the basement, one was learning online.
Oh, right.
My little guy was, hanging with me all day, and it was great. The dog, and it was so,
Everybody home.
yeah, it was just a lot.
Yeah.
And so they needed, what they call last responders, which are funeral directors and morticians.
Okay.
And so we were
That's
out
what they
there.
call them, last responders?
Last responders. Yeah.
I get it. First responder, last responder. Wow.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah.
I don't know how you do that job.
That's understandable.
Yeah. Isn't it scary?
Not for me, but
No.
I think that some people get really weirded out by it. They think
Yeah.
it's bad juju or something like that. But I
No, I mean, we need it, right? Again, it's about people. Like those people that have had such rich, healthy, successful lives with all these networking, they need to celebrate that, right? So I think that you're giving that service. I don't think it's...
And I think there's just and there's the biological aspect of it, and we see some things I wish we didn't have to see, but better me than someone else. It doesn't affect me in a way other people would be affected. So that's what's important.
Yeah, I think seeing those last moments too of people's relationships and stuff maybe could also be motivating for music writing.
Maybe. I just know that all I know is that by the time I am done tour, I am ready to go back to the quiet people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's nice to have those, like, we have a seasonal with the dance studio, we have like a really seasonal experience too. Like they start in September and they're kind of working up to their like big shows or their competitions or whatever, and then we have like the whole summer off. So I think it's nice to kind of have those like seasons of busy.
You need it.
Yeah.
That is crazy, actually. That's two like polar opposites, as like a hurricane show and then deceased people.
Yeah, literally the highest high and the lowest low.
And it's funny because I am someone who doesn't like loud noise, and I know that sounds so funny. Like at home, I don't like super brightness. I don't like super loud noise. So it's but I think it's because I'm very much in control of that other thing, you know.
Totally.
Yeah, that environment, I guess. Yeah, I'm like, you know what, it's funny, I'm like that too, and I'm getting worse as I get older. Like I think it's true, you know what the scenario is. Like, yeah, I love going to a rave or I love going to a concert, but when I'm at home, we had people over the other day and I was like, oh, everyone's just yelling and talking over each other. Like it's wild when you're sensitive to sounds. But yeah, I don't think that's uncommon with music lovers.
Yeah,
music sounds like a different thing. It's like a composition, it works, but people's loud mouths I
think I also need music without drums when I get home.
Really?
Like if I want to listen to, I listen to so much folk music and bluegrass because I'm like, there's just not a hint of drumming in it.
Yeah, it's
and
more
relaxing.
relaxing.
I find it very relaxing. And then once we hit, I call it summer camp. That's like when the summer happens and you see all the musicians you haven't seen, and you're in the same catering lines as them, and you're in the same hotels as them, and the same, after show jams as them.
Yeah.
It's just such a great thing. I remember running into G in Quesnel, BC.
Oh, yeah?
Of all people. Like,
come on.
You've been there?
Yeah, I worked there.
Yes. Oh. I remember coming out of the hotel at like 1 a.m. because I was going to tell everyone to shut the hell up because I was trying to sleep. And I come out and I'm like, yo, G, and so it was pretty great. And
what were they there for?
They were touring through on their way to their next stop. We were on our way to Haida Gwaii, which is an island out in the ocean.
Oh my god!
We had this like huge festival called Edge of the World, which is aptly named. It's
wow.
a 7-hour ferry out into the ocean.
Wow.
And they were, I think they probably headed to Vancouver or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was, ships passing, and that's one of the things I love so much is running into these musicians. And same with the festivals, you see a lot of the same people.
Yeah.
Even if we're not even close, there's just this camaraderie of like, hey, you're at this one too. Hey, you're at this one too.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like, I feel when you're young and trying to prove yourself, everyone's like, I've got this next, I've got this next, I've got this next. In that one, now it feels really like, how are you doing?
Yeah.
How's your tour going? Everything going okay? And I really am happy we're at that point.
I feel like there's such like an emotional, we are actually talking about it with G last week, of like this emotional part of touring where you can feel like your emotions can kind of turn on you, right? You can feel lonely, or you can feel scared, you can, there's all these like big feelings when you're like on the road, you miss people, you miss home, or you don't miss home, it's a really emotional roller coaster, like that experience.
Absolutely.
The highest highs and the lowest, like, unconnected. So I think when you see somebody, and you have that connectivity, I think it really can like help with that kind of stuff.
It's immeasurably helpful. And I think people, imagine that it's like a Motley Crue video out there, and it's not.
It's not.
It's early mornings and late nights and tired and and like you said, missing those people, and you're battling all those things. You're battling loneliness and boredom and hunger and all those things.
Hunger. Usually hunger.
Yeah, always hunger.
Always hunger.
I try to remind myself, you're not hungry, you're bored.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but when you run into friends, huge help.
Yeah, it just like brings your spirit up, right? Yeah, so I wanted to, I can't remember how long it's been, but you kind of made the decision. How many years ago was it to go be sober?
Sober 11 and a half.
Holy, that's amazing.
It's so amazing.
I'm so jealous. Maybe just post it. It'll be like the Financial Fridays. Yeah. I'll get it this time.
Every year, I remember the only reason I posted it at first whenever I was going to get sober was I needed people to be disappointed in me if I didn't.
Yeah, you needed to be accountable.
Accountability is so hard, and
especially in the industry and like in that environment, like everybody else is drinking, you know?
Yeah, and you know what? And now it is just no problem.
Yeah.
Now it's just that's how it is.
Yeah.
But it was the biggest problem. And, you know, Jacob used to say when people would say, what do you attribute the success of Hurricane to? And he would say, well, we got Sylvie.
Yeah.
That was a big thing.
Yeah.
You know, we started choreographing and touring a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And Danno got sober.
Yeah.
You know, and that, because before it was tour was a perfect reason to get smashed, you know, because
every night,
when you're
all night,
when you're an alcoholic,
yeah,
it's, you know, you love the big holidays because everyone is where you were every Tuesday. And, you know,
yeah.
And I remember I ran into a friend who I hadn't seen in about 15 years and he didn't know I was sober. And he was drinking and he said, "Oh, you're late. You need to catch up." I said, no. You still need to catch up. Yeah. I haven't drank a drop in 12 years and you're still behind where I was.
Right.
So, yeah.
Is that why? That's why you made the decision?
I was just a wild alcoholic. Yeah. And I was just, you know, couldn't be trusted. So I just didn't like the kind of man I was. And so that's when you realize you got to make a change.
Yeah.
And I remember falling into about a 4-month depression because I knew I couldn't go back. And I went to AA and I went to all these things and I was like, oh God, this is just so painful. Yeah. And then I was just so angry for the first year. And now I just laugh. I just couldn't equate sobriety and joy. They just didn't make any sense to me.
100%.
And now I'm just like, oh geez, I can't even imagine that. And it's also like now it's such a wonderful time to be sober because the near beer selection is so great.
Yeah,
compared to 10 years ago,
it
was now there just used to be Molson XL, which is basically hay and piss, and now there's all sorts of things, you know. So it's a prime time to be sober.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, like we are seeing like a big switch. I think like it's not our generation necessarily. I think our generation is alcoholics, but the generation coming up underneath us, there's a lot of them that are choosing not to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not important to them.
Yeah, it's so wild.
I know.
Well, I think too, it's like you look up at your parents and your parents weren't cool, so you're younger and what you're doing is cool. And Brent was just saying that like somebody wearing Converse, they're like, oh, those are dad shoes. And I was like, those were like the coolest shoes. And then I'm like, oh, but we're all wearing them and we're everybody's dads now.
Yeah, that's what my daughter calls them, my Doc Martens.
Yeah.
My dad shoes. I was like, oh, that's painful.
Yeah, like, these are the coolest shoes.
But so if your parents are drinking and stuff too, they're like, oh, that's what my parents do.
Yeah, my
that's
parents
not
are
cool,
losers.
Right? I think that might be playing a part.
Who knows?
Who knows why?
But I think it's great, and the fact that they don't give a shit, awesome. Same with smoking. Yeah. It's just the idea of like, I just never see a kid with a butt.
No.
I mean, maybe it's a vape now. I mean, maybe that's the thing.
That's a new thing.
But who knows? They'll figure that out too.
Yeah. How do you deal with your bandmates drinking?
Oh,
I mean, not that you'd be tempted, but how do you deal with them? You know, if you see them going down that same path, how do you?
Okay, this is a really interesting thing that I've noticed from the last tour. There is something I call Hurricane After Dark, and I am not a part of it.
Okay.
So we were in Kelowna, and for some reason I woke up, and it was like about 2 hours after we got to the hotel, and I went. I had to go out to the van for something, and when I went out, I realized everyone was still up, and except for me, and most of them were still up. You know, the old guy room, which I'm part of, was not up, and I realized that there's this whole after party vibe, and I thought, you know what, this is great. I'm so glad that they have this because it doesn't involve me. They can have that. They're having drinks and they're having butts out there, and good for them.
Yeah.
And what an amazing thing when you can be at that part where you don't have to police. I don't have to police adults.
Yeah.
That's your job. If you wanna stay up, God love you. I need every minute of sleep I can log. I love sleep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have my little things on the road. I like if I see pie somewhere, I'm getting a fucking pie.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
You know, but it was really interesting to me, this Hurricane After Dark. And I remember they're like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was like, "Oh, hey." I'm like, "What are you guys doing?"
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, nothing. Just what
Partying.
we're always doing."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, cool." And they, they had a bong out,
Oh
and they're,
my
and they had a
gosh.
case of beer, and they were in front of the hotel, and they were just drinking, and they were being loud and obnoxious, but funny
Yeah.
and good.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, and I was gonna say, hey, don't forget to keep it down." And then I was like, "You know what?
Do it.
And I remember just going back to my room, and it made me smile. I didn't feel left out.
Yeah.
I felt this
Excited.
is good.
Almost proud.
Proud because they're also having their time. They're having the tour they need. And you know what? They traveled all day. They played their show. They did all the things I asked of them.
Yeah.
Now they're doing the things that they want. And this also makes sense why they don't want to get up for van call.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Because there
Yeah.
are definitely one or two members who I always get a key to their room because
You have
Lord
to
knows
wake them up. Yeah.
Leroy,
Yeah.
get up.
I think I have these moments now too. So again, like just the evolution of my studio as I was teaching all the classes, and now I have teachers, so they have their staff and they have a culture, and then all the kids too. I think any moment where you walk in on them, I say it like that, like they're not, my kids aren't doing, they're playing a game or puzzles, but I think it's the same experience where you're hovering over, you're the parent, where you're just like, oh God, like they have their own relationships without me. And it is beautiful because you don't have to command it. You don't have to bring them together. You don't have to develop the culture. They're doing it without you.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. And I think
But
the
it's
other
because
thing,
of something you built.
yeah, you brought them together. I brought them there together, but now they're like feeding off each other, and I don't have to like micromanage it. I don't have to be there to hold their hand. I don't have to be like, hey guys, let's play a game. I walk in and like one of the kids has brought a game and they're all playing it together on the floor. And it's such a beautiful experience where you're like, I brought them together, but now they're doing the thing,
Yeah.
And I think that's great.
So sweet.
Also, I love that because you have such a big band, they don't like, again, we've had like other guests on where that after show experience is horrifying for them. It's so lonely. You're on the stage, there's all this big crazy energy. You get off the stage, the venue leaves, the lights turn on, you're left to clean up, go home, and like you're filled with this like crazy pent up excitement, and you don't have anywhere to go with it. So I think it's really awesome that there's enough people in your band that they are having that, like, they're not going to feel lonely. They're not going to feel that, like, absence after.
I'm
You know what I
amazed
mean?
and I always tell them I'm amazed you guys can do it because like you have any energy left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they
They have so much energy
But
because
some of
it's
them
the
they do.
after show, right? Like,
Yeah. I remember
Yeah.
I used to get that with Morant's project because I was young
Yeah.
and single and
Drinking.
and drinking and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And now it's funny to me. I'm like, let's just tear this shit down and get the hell out of here.
yeah, it's time for bed. I know. I think I have a picture. I feel like it was after Morant's project. We were like back at a house in St. Catharines partying. And I have pictures of, oh my gosh, they're just ridiculous.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
I had
so much
more
fun. Yeah, you had a lot of hair.
hair. A lot of hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much.
So
it's
fun.
it's not the renewable resource it once was, so that's why I had to get rid of it.
It gets heavy too.
Oh yeah.
I feel like all my friends that used to have, I'm really good friends with the Hort brothers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were also at those downtown Dennis shows.
They
Because
were
they had a huge affiliation with Guelph.
yeah, and they I remember them being at a bunch of those house parties and stuff. Yeah, Mark and
Glenn. Yeah. Both with dreads, and both have
yes.
removed their dreads, sadly.
Nice guys.
I know, they're the
Good
best. I love them. Yeah, so you talked about like kind of pre-show rituals. I think people love to hear those. Do you have any pre-show rituals?
Super
fun?
Not really. We just like, kind of hug it out before we go on.
Yeah.
And I would love to say that there's something big happening, but backstage is actually really quiet before we play. I think everyone just kind of has to get in the zone.
Yeah.
And some people are sleeping. Some people some people will sleep till like 5 minutes before the show and then just walk on stage and kill it. And wow. I have to stretch. And some people stretch, some people are singing, some people are just, smoking, doing whatever they gotta do. but there's nothing particularly crazy that's happening. Mostly, I think when people hang around our band, what they're struck by is how hilariously bullying we are to each other. Like in a good way. Like we show our love with absolute horrific bullying. Especially Chris, our guitar player. Like we just love him so much that we're just so like one of the things that I've noticed about us is that it's like somebody says something bad and then it's like we all pile on that to be as worse as humanly possible to each other, and we're all just laughing and laughing and laughing, and it sounds so bad, but it's just how we show our love, and we're just like in hysterics laughing before we go on stage. In fact, you'll notice a lot of times, people have told me this before, I have noticed when you walked on stage that you are laughing several times. I'm like, that's because someone has said something mean about me to me. And I love that. That's fucking hilarious.
That's hardcore. Has any members come in and been like,
no, you know, you just are, it's very clear.
You better dance and take the criticism.
It's
this is boot camp.
Yeah, like, or some of the funny things is because we record the shows, sometimes you can hear the talk. A lot of times the recording unit is right between bass and drums. Okay. So you can hear me and Phrase, and we're just relentless on each other. You know, and it's just so funny. Huh. You're really making the band ugly. So you just hear shit like that, and then you just hear us all laughing. It's just, I swear, if people could hear it, they would be mortified at how we treat each other. But it's just, I'm
just imagining new members coming on and being like, what is happening
right now? I have to remind us sometimes that like we're around people who don't know us.
Right.
You know, they're like, oh, they don't like each other.
Horrified.
No. That's our love.
That's our banter.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. Yeah. So I guess we kind of talked about this already, but yeah, I'm just imagining, I can't understand how you get all this work done, and the only thing I could think of is you're not drinking.
Yeah, not drinking. It takes up so much time.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how much you can get done.
I'm just a real believer in, so I like to swim in the mornings if I can. Okay. And after that, it's like before the kids get up, I send off tons of emails. Yeah. And so things are always happening while things are happening, and I'm always working while I'm working. So yeah, you know, even if I'm at the funeral home, I can take a meeting for something else. Maybe I do a lot of things on my phone. And my thing is that I'm a big believer in short-term goals and like little micro goals. If I can do something in less than 5 minutes, I do it instantly. Yeah, that's just I believe in that because it just works so well. It's just so amazing. If there's like 4 dishes in the sink, okay, gone. Yeah, you know, and then you feel like you've done something because it's really easy to get overwhelmed. If I looked at the things I do in a day, even if I looked back on them, I would be like, how did I get that done? Crazy person. Yeah. But but I just find it's just like it's these small incremental goals, and then I get into them. Yeah. You know, it's like once I start sinking my teeth into them, I'm like, okay, this is good. I'm getting things. And there was a time today where I was laughing because I was on like a Zoom call with the agency at the funeral home. I had my phone in my hand, doing something else, and I'm writing something else, and at one point someone goes, "What are you paying attention to right now?" I'm like, everything. I'm not sure, but I think all of it, you know. Yeah.
I always kind of got that vibe from drummers, period. Drummers just look like they're like octopuses,
we're very squid-like.
Polyrhythms.
Yeah, polyrhythms, totally. Yeah, exactly. When there's the Tool thing again. Yeah, exactly. It's like something doing something, doing something, doing something. Yeah.
I'm sitting in I have like a mastermind program that I'm like working with that are like, they're great at like teaching all these different, you know, biting off small pieces and making, you know, they're giving you all these tips on like how to get everything done. I think you should do a consulting course or like a webinar. Well, this is great.
Well, you know, it's crazy.
People need to learn these skills.
Well, I do consulting as well.
Oh my God. Of course you do.
So I have 4 coming up in the next week, and I have 1 tomorrow night. And so I do this, it's an hour and a half consulting thing. And I just talk with like these young bands who are interested in the business of music. Yes. Because I also do these seminars, like Long McQuaid would hire me for like a month, and I would go out and tour it. I brought Andy Colonico with me from Revive the Roast because he always reminds me of like, he's a lot like me. The exact physical opposite of me. Short and squat. I'm super tall. But he's just like, I always say the man is just throwing a huge amount of pitches. You know, it's like not all strikes.
Not all landing.
You know, same with me.
Yeah.
Like I'm throwing some that are in the dirt, but at least you're trying something, and you know, that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
And I'm just such a believer in that, and doing all these things, and these little micro goals really, really add up. And eventually it seems like, wow, a lot of things have happened. And I forget sometimes that even though people aren't necessarily engaging with me online, they still see. And I went to a show the other night and someone said, okay, so new job, heart attack, funeral home, tour went insane, all the stuff like that. And they just blasted
telling you your whole life.
It was very funny to hear. And I was like, wow, that was very succinct. Yes.
Yeah. All those things happened.
Yes, all those things happen. I'm feeling much better. Thank you.
Yeah, you were telling us about the health scare.
Just a little health scare, but I'm much better now.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm glad to put it behind me, but it was also to be forced into not doing stuff for a week or two.
Right.
Was so unbelievably bizarre for me. I am annoying. I'm an annoying human being whenever I am
when
forced.
You're not, yeah.
I can't watch a full movie. I don't have that ability. Like, I'm too ADHD to watch something not in 9 parts.
Yep.
You know,
I can't. I really like those micro things. For me, it's like I have to exist like that. If I pay attention to something for more than 3 minutes, and it drives me crazy. So if it's a task that can't be done in more than 3 or in under 3 minutes, then I'm going to end up just going in circulation. You know?
Yeah.
And by the end of the day, it gets done. That 10-minute task took me 4 rounds, but I got it done.
Yeah, absolutely. You eat the elephant one bite at a time.
Yeah.
It's the only way.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love this question. Yeah, if you could give yourself, if you could give younger Danno some advice, what would it be?
You know what? I would just tell that kid that he's on the right track.
Yeah, you're doing
I definitely.
it.
I remember, I was saying on the ride here, I was talking on the phone, and I was saying how, you know, I was so smitten with drumming. I was so in love with it. It took over everything.
Yeah.
You know, and I like to joke that, you know, I was 15 years old and 6'3" and about 130 pounds, and, you know, with like long dreadlocks and tight pants and an Iron Maiden shirt and a mustache with like 5 long hairs in it. And I just didn't understand why the women were not flocking to me. And, you know, and I was just so obsessed with drums, and what a wonderful thing to become obsessed with.
Totally.
What a wonderful thing to become obsessed with. And I think of all the friends I've made, and this is something else that cracks me up sometimes, is I'll be on stage and I'll look over and I'll see player number 2 and I'll think, wow, they at one point picked up a trumpet and now they're here. This person who's from miles away from where I'm from, they're older or younger than me. And that we're all together. This all started because we all loved music, and somehow they wanted to be part of this thing that you started. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And, you know, and I've lost people to the project who are integral, like Nelson and Jacob and Sylvie, people who are, you know, and in those moments, you almost want to give up, because what you realize is it's not the failures that are hardest, it's the wins after that, because you don't have anyone to share them with.
Mm-hmm.
And then what ends up happening is that what I've realized is that these people just being along with me is the big win. And when you can really, you know, thank you to my therapist for helping me realize this. You know, it's really been so useful to me to be grateful.
Yeah.
It's so useful to be grateful.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down on my phone at the end.
Actually, one of my coaches pulled out. So our mentorship program is like 40 coaches and like 600 dance studio owners. So we're on Zoom calls all the time. And yeah, the other day she pulled it out. They're like about to celebrate American Thanksgiving. And she's like, you know, this is my Bible. And she pulled it out, and it was just like a book that she had started 10 years ago about just writing down what she's grateful for. And I think it's really hard as like a business owner. Like we said, it's just really hard to to not cling on to those either moments or people, right? To not be like, that's my person and we shared this with and we built it together. And so now they're gone. And like, does it just destroy like the whole project type of thing? But
Yeah.
I think it's true. Like just being able to look around at whoever it is at the time, whoever's working in your business, you're grateful for them that they're picking you as their leader, right? They chose whatever. They could choose anything. Like there's so many things in the world they could do and they're choosing to follow you. And I think that's like so powerful.
And to not be a mutiny. How wonderful.
Yeah, I know. We've had those moments in uni too.
I will say this too, is that they have, whenever I got sick and I said, no, you have to go on without me.
Yeah.
What a hard moment and an amazing moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's like watching your kid drive away.
Right.
You know, or ride their bike away and you say, okay, this is the point. This is like being a parent.
Yeah.
The point is to get them ready.
Empower them.
I was hoping it wouldn't be so soon.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Does Jesus take the wheel?
Yeah, but you know, I was like a very concerned parent. I'm like, you let me know when you get to the venue. You let me know when you've loaded in.
Yeah.
And when you're sound checking, and you know, and so I
never mind, just video call me.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like, you know, and then I wouldn't hear anything for a while. I'm like, everything all right? Yeah, we're just at the hotel. You know, just you know, have a nap or something until this. Okay.
Did you leave yet?
Let's go. Did you leave everything good? What's your? Did you guys choose a call time? It's like,
oh my god, ETA.
Yeah, exactly. So
amazing. Yeah. It's nice to have those moments, and I think as we get older, we have to do that. And those are like it's not so much about you anymore, right? And it's hard to do that. It's hard as like being the visionary to actually be able to hand it off and be like, okay, I trust you guys. You can do this.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been amazing for me too.
Yeah.
I've loved being out like these teachers. They got this, you know, and I can just watch.
Okay, so I think we should close with my Spencer Burton story.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
can I ask one question before?
Please.
I was gonna say, could you see yourself maybe just being the organizer in the future? Yeah.
Yes, that was, and that's something that I've thought more about and this is the first year in which I take any sort of steps towards that by having Cooper do even 10% of the shows.
Amazing.
You know, if it's just one-offs or if it's, and then the next one will be like, can you do a flyout without me? Can you do, and I do see that. I think that
you have to.
I think that's important because I am old. My knees hurt, you know, and you know, you want to do it. But again, these kids, you know, we need that time and who knows? And who knows what life things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
So it is really nice getting them ready for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's hear about Spencer.
Okay, here's my story. I don't know Spencer. That's what's important about this.
Okay.
We've met once.
Okay. He's wonderful.
Okay. In the one time we met, he's really good. But so the story is in the very early years of Hurricane. Like very, very early. There was not even a shade of success yet.
Yeah.
And we were looking to get a van. And someone said, hey, you know those guys in Attack in Black, or that band was still cooking, are selling their van. I said, oh, cool. So through some reason, I get his number, gave him a call, and he said, sure, man. He's like, come out and see it. And it was really, really cheap. And I was like, you know, which should have been some sort of red flag.
Yeah.
But this was like a movie, what happened. So we showed up, he comes out, and he's like, all right. So he unlocks it, and he's like, just, you know, take a look around. I'll be out in a minute. So we go, and I go to open the door, and the door handle comes off. Okay, bad start. And then Nelson goes to open his door, and the door falls off. What the And then we get inside, and I turn it on, and I realize it's got like closer to a million kilometers than it does to like 0. What? And the back is just basically filled with like Tim Hortons cups and smoke packages. And then the funniest moment comes where he's like, well, and because at this point we've decided, okay, this machine, I was like, there's no way this is safety. He's like, oh no, not even close. No. And then he's like, but you know, he's like, you could probably get it safety. And I was like, I don't know. And so we turn it on, and I go to run it, and I'm trying to hit the gas and nothing's happening. I was like, what's happening? He's like, oh, hold on. Runs in the house, comes out with the gas pedal. And I was like, why do you have the gas pedal? He's like, it is Welland. You know?
Oh my God,
and it was just such a hilarious, funny sitcom moment where everything that could possibly be wrong with this vehicle went wrong with it. And I've been meaning, and again, I haven't run into him since then.
Wow.
I saw him at that Cicada Fest when he was doing
he was doing the kids.
But he was about to perform, and I've
Yeah.
been meaning to bring up that story and be like, I don't know if you remember this,
Oh
but
my
like 15
God.
years ago, whatever happened to that van?
Just Spencer and vans. He had a whole bunch of van stories too on our episode. He was like buying vans. I guess he like went to go look at one, and the guy was just like, like I'll drive it to you, and you know, he was just basically lowballing himself. Spencer's like, I'm not buying this. He's like, oh come on, man, like I'll drive it to you, and you can have it for this price or something. Spencer and vans.
Something else.
Amazing. Well, this was so awesome. Thank you so much for coming. It was
Pleasure.
wonderful having you. Yeah, so you have a nice long break. You have
Nice
nothing
long
till
break.
May.
March 28th we begin.
Okay.
Actually 27th because I booked something on the way here.
Oh my
Nice.
God. Of course you did. I
Yeah.
saw a show like in London in May.
Show in
So
London
you're
in
starting
May.
in March.
Yeah. So we're starting in March. Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be announced soon, and our European tour is starting to get announced right now.
Amazing.
All the UK shows are starting to announce. They seem to announce a little bit earlier than Canada does.
Okay.
So there will be things, but I mostly
Yay.
want us just to shut up online for a month, but it probably won't happen.
Online?
Yeah, well, I just feel like, it's nice to be quiet for a little bit, because all year we're like, come to the show, come to the show, come to the show.
Right, yeah.
But but we'll see.
Yeah, it's amazing. All right. I'm sure we'll close out with a hurricane song.
Sure, yeah.
Amazing. All right. Well, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming.
Ciao.
Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, and you'll never miss a podcast.
Yeah, good night.
There's a few things that I know about what the daylight says. In the end, I want revenge, so I dig to graves. Secrets, they're no weakness, and just place your bets. The lesson here, the tree remembers what the ox forgets. Does your mama know about me? Does she know who I am? Does your mama know about me? Would she ever understand?
Does your mama know how you treat a girl? You gotta let your light shine.
Does your mama know?